Have you ever noticed that two people can live through the exact same event and have two completely different experiences? This is actually something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm picturing it very similarly to these mind movies, or shall we say exactly as these mind movies that I've been intentionally moving through applying in my day-to-day life. And what this is a series of snapshots that are overlaying each other simultaneously. Every single second of our life is a collection of snapshots. Some of those snapshots we remember, some we don't. Just because we don't remember them doesn't mean they don't exist. It just simply means that our attention or our focus was not intentionally choosing to collect that snapshot for further reference. What I give my attention to the most is what I experience as my reality. It's not that those other pieces of information or those other snapshots don't matter. It's just simply that I have not chosen to refer to them as often or even at all. Think about a movie for a moment. Even though a movie, and we experience the movie as one individual frame, it's actually thousands of individual frames put together, but our brain experiences it as one continuous frame simultaneously. And what's really interesting about this is every day of my life, my brain is collecting thousands of bits of information, millions of bits of information. And as my senses are collecting this data, they're putting the information together in a snapshot. It's a collection of information in that second. Some of that information I'm going to tag as important. I'm going to slap a meaning on it. I'm going to define it in a certain way. And other moments I'm going to ignore. But what I've really noticed is very interesting about this is what we choose to remember and why. And this is also what's been taking up a lot of my time and my attention, because I feel it is a very, very important part of the process, which is recognizing how we truly experience reality, and when we're going through an identity shift, how that's actually happening. I used to think that I needed to learn more in order to experience myself differently or experience myself better. But what I'm seeing now is that it's about getting the most out of those snapshots, choosing to focus my energy and my attention intentionally so that I can tune into different versions of the movie, different parts of the movie that maybe I've ignored previously. And normally I would choose to focus on snapshots that I felt like I needed to control, that I felt like I needed to change, that I felt like I needed to avoid. And so the snapshots that I am most commonly attuned to are the ones that carry avoidance, control, people pleasing, needing to conform my reality so that I feel safe instead of choosing safety and then allowing my reality to conform to me. Right now, my senses are taking in all of this information, and my brain is asking the question, what does this mean? And when I consciously become aware of what my senses have received, that's that important moment where I determine, is this going to mean something good for me, or is this going to mean something bad for me? What I'm choosing to move forward with now is that everything in my life is always perfect. Everything is good. Everything is always working out. Because when I begin with that state of peace, no matter what moves through, no matter what catches my attention, it's not going to sideline me. It's not going to create a moment of chaos. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of depression or anxiety. Because when I'm in those places, my attention is most drawn to things like rejection, self-judgment, and I'm going into a place of self-depreciation, which is not something I want to experience. And that's because if I start to notice rejection, my brain will consistently become more attuned to noticing more rejection. Whatever I consistently give my attention to is the type of information my brain is going to become most familiar with. It's going to begin to collect that evidence more and more and more. So I can either gather evidence of rejection or I can gather evidence of gratitude. But I have to show myself, I have to basically prove that evidence is a necessity. I have to prove to myself that that's the way that I choose to place my attention. That's the information that I choose to collect. And so every single day, the intention is to now choose to see things that I'm grateful for, choose to see things that I'm blessed by, choose to see that money surrounds me, abundance is all around me, love is all around me. And most importantly, it's within me. And so long as I consistently focus my attention in this way, it doesn't mean that the challenges won't come. It just simply means that the way the movie plays itself out in those challenging parts won't consume me and won't control me. This doesn't necessarily mean that the world has changed or that things have changed so dramatically that I don't recognize the world that I'm living in. It just means that my brain has begun prioritizing different states of information, that information that I would have previously ignored. I would have ignored gratitude and instead focused on rejection. One of the things I've spoken into recently is that I have been programmed to expect rain, and I am now programming myself to expect sunshine. And that change in forecast is the type of information I'm choosing to focus my attention on. So now every single day is about collecting snapshots of sunshine, focusing my attention on how much information I can see and how much evidence I can collect that sunshine exists. And of course, this takes a little bit of time because I have to basically build a foundation of sunshine where one of rain once existed. But that's okay. It's not that that sunshine never existed. It's not that I could never experience it. It's just that because I didn't give it my attention as often, it was very fleeting. It was never lasting. And there was almost this impending doom that should sunshine come, the rain would always follow. And now it's the other way around. I'm always expecting sunshine, and it's okay if it rains a little bit. It's watering, it's hydrating, it's helping me to learn and grow. So now the rain is actually offering me sustenance. It's not drowning me. And that's a very, very different situation to be in. Now, one thing I want to be sure I address here, I'm not just thinking my way out of life through being overly positive. That is not it at all. Every single day I am faced with challenges, with emotions that are anything other than positive. I'm not trying to avoid those. It's just that because I'm choosing to approach my life through a different lens and I'm choosing to collect information differently, I can now be with those emotions without them taking over my nervous system, hijacking the experience, and basically controlling and consuming me to such a degree that I feel like I can't get out, that I feel like I'm suffocating, where the suffering becomes unbearable and I start to blame myself and I start to hate myself and I start to take that judgment and I start to distort it even further. The major difference is that this keeps me in the present moment. This keeps me in the presence of my self-awareness. That way I can ask myself, what is happening right now? I'm not worried about what's going to happen tomorrow or next year or 10 years down the road. And I'm also not caught up in my past to such a degree where I'm either unconsciously acting from it or I'm hyper obsessed over it in a need to heal myself or better understand my past so that I can have a better future. When I live in the present, I am aware that there are parts of me that are living through me that maybe I haven't given myself permission to face or forgive myself for or forgive others for. And that is my past, quote unquote, even though it doesn't technically exist as my past, it's always going to show up in my present because of this. So I don't need to go to my past. I just simply need to be present and aware of right now, because right now is both my past and my future, because that is the only place where anything lives is right now. So as long as I am present and aware of myself, I can also access myself from that state of constantly becoming a different version. Not that becoming means that it never existed. It just means that I'm moving. That's the way I see becoming. I'm moving. I'm no longer stagnant or stuck. So when I'm becoming, I'm moving into that version of me that I was once ignoring. So I wanted to share this with you guys because it has been something that has been consistently shifting the way that I perceive myself and the world. For me right now, this is the most important thing. Because as a child, I was not aware of the meaning I was assigning to myself and to others and to the world. But in that moment of presence, in that moment where I am aware of the information that I am choosing to collect, I'm aware of the information I am choosing to acknowledge, I then have a choice of the meaning that I assign. And I'm no longer a victim of the meaning that has been controlling my life into this point. And for me, that's where freedom lives, right there in that moment of self-awareness, understanding why I am making this mean what it means right now. And I can either reinforce the meaning that's always lived through me, or I can assign a new meaning, or I can just simply detach myself from it completely and become absolved of the sin that I have been living in, which means I am just unbothered. I am in love with the moment. I am no longer in fear of the moment. I'm no longer acting as an addict who needs to chase the high of avoidance and self-abandonment. So I want to say thank you all for choosing to tune in and receive everything that I've been sharing. I am so grateful to each and every one of you. And I want you all to remember that you all have the power. Every single one of you have the power to shift your identity right now. All that it requires is you showing up and having a willingness to do so. And from there, anything is possible.